Are you a family caregiver? Are you caregiving for someone who can no longer take care of themselves? Are you overwhelmed? This is Caregiver Solutions Info with Marcia Teal. Marcia will be hosting an hour of true stories and information, tips and updates of the latest research and necessary information in the caregiving field, focusing on you, the family caregiver. An Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert, Marcia has 15 years of hands-on experience at Arden Courts, a leader in assisted living dementia communities here in the U.S. Marcia covers everything you need to know as a family caregiver, especially if you care for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease or other related dementia or chronic illness. If you have a friend or relative that is also a family caregiver, call them now. They won't want to miss a minute. And let them know they can watch on caregiversolutions.info. And they can listen on WNN 1470 AM in South Florida or nationally on the iHeartRadio app. Now, sit back, relax, and learn from our host, Marcia Teal, as she brings information to you that may just be the caregiving solution you need.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Caregiver Solutions Info. I'm so glad you could join us today in lovely Boca Raton, Florida, whether you're listening on the local radio station or joining us on your mobile application, whether it's your iPhone, it might be your laptop, wherever you are viewing us or listening to us. I'm so glad you decided to join. We have a great show for you today, and I'm so excited, so let's get started. So today is Tuesday, July 21st. And last week we were discussing the 4 P's of placement. We didn't have quite enough time to finish, and so I promised we would finish up this week about the 4 P's of placement when you're looking to find some place for placing a loved one that has dementia, especially in an assisted living, what to look for. So we talked about those 3 things, and we're going to finish up with number 4 today. And just to recap, the 4 P's of placement that I like to share is the place, the people, the programs. So we talked about those in depth. And the last one is the plan. And if you don't have a plan in place, then the other 3 P's are all for naught. Because what good is it to investigate, looking at places, asking questions about the people, investigating what kind of programs are there, not only for residents but for the families, and then have all that information and do nothing with it? So it's very, very important to follow through and make a plan. Now, that doesn't mean you have to actually execute the plan, but the plan is there in the event that you do have to execute it. And that's what it's all about. Caregiving is difficult. No one said it was easy, but hopefully you'll listen to the show and find lots of good things and lots of great tips to help make your caregiving experience a little bit less stressful. And so the 4th one is the plan. What does that mean? Well, you have all this information you've gathered, and now you need to organize it. Put it in some order of your preference. And we're not talking about price here. We haven't really entered into price. This is something that comes later, because if you're choosing a dementia-assisted living based on price, then you're going to miss out. You're going to miss the boat, and you're going to find that perhaps that wasn't the best way to do it, only because you may find that it is more affordable than you thought. And so we're going to leave price out of it just for now until we get to the end of that 4th P. And so you're going to rank your choices. The favorite, you've got all this information, rank them in order of preference. And then you're going to actually then attach the price to them. You've gathered the price and you put it in the, match it up to where you went. And then you can actually see, wow, I'm surprised this particular place that I really like really is within my budget. And maybe the place that you didn't like at all is in your budget too. So you want to be sure that you're looking at the right place that is your preference for your loved one, with everything they have to offer, and then ranking them with your budget in mind. Once you do that, you want to go and back and visit the top 2 places. Take a second look. Take someone with you, like we said. It's a good idea to have a second pair of eyes and ears with you. And this time, go in unannounced And when you're going through, you will be assured that, they're not putting on a show for you. They didn't know you were coming, and you show up and say, I was here last week or the other day, and I'd really like to take a second look. And they'll be happy, or they should be happy, to accommodate you at the last minute, and then you can take another look around. That's going to give you another way to view the community. Hopefully it will be just as good as it was the first time. Things do happen, of course, but it's all in the way that they're handled. And so after you do your second tours, then you want to sit down with somebody at that point and talk about your timing. What is your timing? If you had your ideal situation, when you thought it would be necessary, or when you would like to have your loved one perhaps come into a community, what would be that time frame look like for you? And then talk about that, see what's required, see what you need to do. Perhaps the community has a waiting list. And so if that's the case, you might want to get on that waiting list for the future. So the important thing is not to wait for a crisis. If you wait for a crisis and you don't have a plan, and you say, gee, I really like that place, and I'm going to give them a call because I can't take it anymore, and guess what? They're not going to have a place for you. And you may have to wait a very, very long time. You might get lucky, it's kind of sometimes the roll of the dice, but you don't want to take that chance. And so make that phone call, talk to them, make a plan. Even if you never have to execute it, you're going to have a whole lot more peace of mind knowing that you have that in your back pocket. And share that information also with your children or with someone else that is close to you that can help make some decisions. Because I actually had a lady that visited and chose Arden Courts for her husband, but she wasn't ready. And she shared that information with her children, but her children were up north. And one day, this lady all of a sudden ended up in the middle of the night with chest problems and pain and all kinds of things, and had to be rushed 911 to the hospital. But the problem was her husband had Alzheimer's, and he was home alone and couldn't be left. So the wife called her next door neighbor, who came over, spent the night on the couch to watch the husband to make sure he didn't leave. And the wife said, in the morning, call Arden Courts, they'll know what to do. And so I did get a visit from the neighbor, and she had taken the husband to the daycare center. And in the meantime, she went home, she packed his bags. We got the doctor's orders that were necessary for us to have him come in. And when he was at the end of his day, the neighbor picked him up and brought him in. And the wife was so glad that she had made a plan, because she had to execute it. But in this case, it was an emergency, but she had made her plan. So that's my words of wisdom, is make a plan and stick by it. So also, we've been talking about the 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's disease that's actually put out by the National Alzheimer's Association. And we've been going through them. And in case this is your first time joining us, the first one was memory loss. Number 2, difficulty performing familiar tasks. Number 3, problems with language. Number 4, disorientation to time and place. Number 5, poor or decreased judgment. And this week, we're talking about number 6, problems with abstract thinking. What does that mean? Problems with abstract thinking. That means that a person is having difficulty performing complex mental tasks. For instance, they might forget what numbers are for, and therefore, if they don't know what numbers are for, they can't balance a checkbook, let's say. Now, it doesn't mean that just because you find it hard to balance your checkbook, which a lot of people do, it doesn't mean that, oh no, you need to run to the doctor because you're going to get Alzheimer's. It doesn't mean that, because you're looking at all of these together, and you want to have some kind of a pattern. But it does mean that people do have difficulty in performing complex tasks, such as planning a trip, figuring out logistics, maybe even planning an event where you have to coordinate a lot of different vendors and committees and a lot of tasks, and everything has to come together. So this is something that a lot of business people who are very high-powered business people and very professional and busy and successful start to have problems, because all of a sudden their mind becomes fuzzy, and things that they once used to be able to do in making these tasks happen, to actually, make things happen, they're not able to. Things just feel jumbled up and they're just out of sorts and they can't figure it out. So that one is number 6. All right. So we'll continue with the 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's disease as we go along week to week. And if you ever have any questions about any of them, you can get this from the Alzheimer's Association, or you can contact Arden Courts, and I'll be glad to send you a list on that too. So I'm really excited this week because I have a wonderful, wonderful guest. And this week's topic is focusing on accidental drownings. And here in Florida, we have so many bodies of water. We have lakes, we have pools, we have canals, we have ponds. We have lots and lots of water around us. And when you're talking about somebody that has Alzheimer's disease and they start to wander, it's a very, very scary thing. Matter of fact, I picked up an article from ABC News where they're talking about Alzheimer's disease and wandering, and sometimes that wandering can be deadly. And what had happened is there was a 75-year-old man who suffered from Alzheimer's, and he actually drowned in Lake Michigan after one day of being gone missing, and his family had reported him missing, and then a day later they found him drowned in the lake. He had walked 9 miles from his house. So what does that mean? That means that you can't assume just because you don't live near a lake, near a pool, near a pond, that your loved one is not going to find that body of water and perhaps drown. So 9 miles. I mean, people can just walk and walk and walk and walk. And the family was just obviously so shocked, never thought that would happen. And unfortunately, it was a sad situation. According to the Alzheimer's Association, 60% of people that suffer with Alzheimer's disease become disoriented and will get lost at some point during the course of their illness. 60%. That's a big number. And a lot of caregivers tell me, Marcia, my husband will never wander. He doesn't go anywhere. He wouldn't do that. And you know what I say to them? That's right, until he does. That's right, until they do. Because you don't know when, and you don't know how, and you don't know where. And so it's scary. If they're not found within the first 24 hours, anywhere from 1/3 to 1/2 may die. And so these are scary facts and figures. It happens all the time. And matter of fact, I also found that the statistic of in Florida that there's 2 age groups that have the highest number of drownings. And you probably can guess, of course, it's little kids. They get out and they crawl and they go under and, they're fast. Highest number of accidental drownings in Florida is the age group 1 to 4 years. The second highest age group of people who accidentally drown are people over age 65. And here in Florida, so many people over age 65. So it's really scary. There is here another one in Bradenton, Florida. This man, he didn't have Alzheimer's, but he was in a wheelchair. He had some physical disabilities. His wife was his caregiver. He was 69 years old, and he drove an electric wheelchair. One day, he drove that electric wheelchair into a swimming pool. Horrible. The wife was there, but she couldn't get him out. She couldn't get him to the steps. She didn't know what to do, and unfortunately, he drowned. And nobody knows why he drove his wheelchair into the pool. Maybe he did have some dementia, and maybe he wasn't diagnosed. Who knows? But the point is, The wife was there, couldn't get him out, didn't know what to do, and he died. So when we come back, you're going to meet Anna Stewart. She's the manager of the Palm Beach County Drowning Prevention Coalition, and she's going to teach us how to save somebody and maybe how to save ourselves. So stay tuned.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live, it's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. Do you need the advice of an elder law attorney but perhaps find it difficult or overwhelming getting to appointments? The solution is the Elder Law Department. They bring elder law to you by meeting with you in the comfort of your own surroundings to discuss your personal situation and family needs. In practice since 1994, Heidi Friedman is a member of the Elder Law section of the Florida Bar. She and her team help families with issues that include incapacity and estate planning, asset preservation, veterans benefits, and other legal issues that seniors may face. Call the Elder Law Department at 954-383-1143. 954-383-1143. They bring elder law to you.
Hi, this is Marcia Teal of CareGiver Solutions Info. I'd like to tell you about Senior Home Companions. They provide care in the home for seniors by active seniors. The caregivers are mature men and women who understand the needs of seniors. Caregivers are individually matched to each client, creating a bond and a high level of comfort. A nurse registry, Senior Home Companions have been assisting seniors in Palm Beach County for 17 years. For a complimentary assessment, call Gloria at 561-347-6676 to see how a Senior Home Companion can help you.
You are listening to your host, Marcia Teal, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on CareGiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Hi, and welcome back. Glad you decided to stick around and meet our guest today. I want to thank our national sponsor, Arden Courts. They are a memory care community. They are located all across the United States, about at least 50 Arden Courts, hopefully one in your community. They are awesome. They are a top leader, and they are dementia specific. And so they're one of the best that you can find, and I hope that you can give them a call because they want to give away a book to you. This is The Still Alice. This is the novel. It was made into a movie recently about a younger woman who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. She was about 50, and it goes through what she went through. Also, Arden Courts would like to offer you the 36-hour day book. Now, this book has become dubbed as the Caregiver's Bible. It's everything you need to know about caregiving and then some. It's actually written by Dr. Peter Rabins, and this book is the updated and revised edition. All you have to do is call the Arden Courts toll-free number of 888-478-2410. Tell them you saw the Caregiver Solutions show and you would like your free copy of either the 36-hour day or the Still Alice novel, and they'll take your name, number, and address, and they'll ship it right out to you. So give them a call. All right, let's get to our guest today. I'm so excited. I actually met Anna a few weeks ago. She did a presentation, and she was awesome. And so I invited her to join us today. And welcome, Anna.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This is fantastic.
Well, we're glad that you're here. Anna is the manager of the Palm Beach County Drowning Prevention Coalition. So, Anna, tell us what that is.
The Drowning Prevention Coalition, basically our job is to educate the 1.3 million people in Palm Beach County about the importance of water safety and drowning prevention. We just have 2 people to do this. So
that's a big job.
It is a big job for 2 people, but we do the best that we can. And we do this in 3 primarily different ways. And one is go out into the community for free and do free land-based water safety presentations like I did for your organization. We do children as well as adults, and it's all free. So you just have to call our office to request one of us to come to speak. We also provide free or reduced cost swimming lessons for children ages 3 through 12 who qualify for our program. And every weekend, we're out in the community handing out water safety and drowning prevention materials.
Wow. And it's summertime, so I'm sure you're probably busy and there's a lot to be learned and people are out there and we want everyone to be safe. But you heard me talk about these stories of these elderly people that, whether they suffer from dementia or not, found themselves in a catastrophe where they got into a body of water and unfortunately they drowned. And I know you also had a story that you want to share with everybody, and which was, to me, totally mind-boggling. Can you tell us that story?
Yeah, absolutely. Several months ago, I received a phone call from a daughter whose father had drowned at the Boca Raton Century Village pool. And he was in the middle of the pool, and those that were around the pool just stood there in shock and didn't do anything.
What do you mean they didn't do anything?
They didn't do anything. They didn't go in to try to help him, nothing. And the gentleman ended up drowning.
They watched him?
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, didn't they call for help? Didn't they call 911? Didn't they...
She just expressed to me that nobody did anything, and she did not want this type of incident to happen to any other resident in that community. So she requested that I come to the Century Village Community Center and talk to residents about, okay, well, what do you do if you find somebody who's drowning? And so that's how I ended up there.
That's how you ended up there. So do you, in your opinion, if obviously there were people around the pool and this gentleman, was in trouble, do you think they didn't know what to do, or do you think maybe they were in shock and they couldn't react? Or?
Yeah, I think there's a multitude of answers to that question, and
who really knows?
Right, it could be shock. It could be maybe the people that were there didn't know how to swim. If you don't know how to swim, what if you jump in after somebody who is flailing? They could drown you too. So you'd have not one drowning, but 2.
That's true.
And oftentimes people panic when there's situations that they're not familiar with. So the point being is that nobody helped, and unfortunately this gentleman died. And
even if they had a cell phone handy and someone called 911,
well, that's better than nothing.
But by the time they got there, it was too late. It's too late. So we want to help people to know what to do in a case where maybe you don't swim, maybe you don't know how to help somebody, maybe you can't go in the water for whatever reason, but there are ways that people can help someone in trouble.
Absolutely.
So tell us how to do that.
Well, first and foremost, if you're ever near a body of water or you end up going into a body of water, never swim alone. You always want to have somebody with you, because let's say you get a cramp in your leg and there's nobody there to help you. I mean, the likelihood of your survival goes way down. But if you have somebody there, they can go and they can help you calling 911 and reach your throat. Don't go. It's just so critical that you never swim alone. We find that in the senior community that a lot of people enjoy their water aerobics, and they go into the pool. Great, phenomenal exercise, and it's not very deep. It might be 4 feet.
Right, they're in the shallow end.
Right, but what we like to do is we like to tell people you can drown in 2 inches of water. Now, to visualize this, I ask people to take your pointer finger. You remember this when I spoke to your group, right?
Okay, let's do this.
Okay, you take your pointer finger in your right hand, you put one above your nose.
Above my nose.
And one below your mouth.
And one below my mouth.
Right, and bring your fingers forward in front of your face and stop.
Okay.
So do you see the space between the 2 fingers?
Right.
That's all the water it takes for you personally to drown.
So I don't need even a foot of water.
Not even a foot, because all the water has to do is cover your nose and mouth. But people don't think drowning in those terms. In addition, we find that people have this mentality of it's never going to happen to me. It's just, I don't go near water. I get that a lot. Okay, well, do you shower? Because if you slip and you fall and your body covers the drain, where does the water go? It rises. And we know in the senior community, slipping and falling is a major issue. So you want to make sure in the bathroom that you have those necessary precautions in place to hopefully prevent a fall injury from occurring, like the mats on the floor, the handrails, things of that nature.
Wow. So people think, oh, yeah, you could drown in a bathtub of water, but you're saying you could actually drown in the shower because the drain's covered and now it can go over your nose, over your mouth. You're knocked unconscious because you hit the floor with your head, and there you go.
And you never know. And if there was nobody there in the house to help you, I mean, particularly in situations with individuals with Alzheimer's, it's very critical that they have, you know, a companion to help them. And if they get disoriented, which, as you said, could happen at any moment, you don't know. So that's why you want to make sure that you know what to do in case emergencies happen.
Wow. Well, so let's say that we are out by the pool.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, you know, we notice that somebody is either flailing or maybe they're not moving. Maybe they're just there and all of a sudden they're not moving. What's the first thing somebody should do?
Well, the first thing is to call 911. Or if you're with somebody else, you say, hey, you go call 911. And then I would practice reach, throw, don't go. Reach, throw, don't go.
So it's a little ditty to remember.
Exactly. And children can, you know, grandchildren, you could teach your grandchildren this information. Reach, throw, don't go.
What does that mean? Reach, throw, don't go.
The don't go part is you don't jump in because that person that's in the water, if they're, as I mentioned before, flailing, they can drown you as well. So we don't want you entering the water.
Because they're panicking, they're scared, or they think that you're going to hurt them in some way, especially a person with Alzheimer's. They don't know you're there to help them.
No, and not only that, the person that is in peril, what they want to do is get to the surface to breathe. And how do you do that? They use their arms and flail. And so if they grab onto you, they're going to push you underneath the water. And we don't want that to happen. But we want to help the person, right, and not put our own, you know, lives on the line to help somebody.
Okay, so we don't go. We don't want to do that.
Don't go. So what we ask is that, particularly if you're at a commercial pool, like, I don't know, at Arden Courts, for example, I don't know if you have a pool.
Oh, no, you missed one of those shows.
Sorry.
We talk about when you look for a place with for someone with dementia. If they have a pool, run
the other way.
Right, run the other way, because obviously, and you know this, that bodies of water and people with dementia don't mix.
It don't mix
and
well,
so
right.
you never want to even take a chance in that. So Arden Courts would never have a pool because it is too much of a risk for someone to want to go in there. And you know, even regular senior communities, regular assisted livings, they have pools. I mean, they're regular and independent living.
Right.
And so this obviously would apply to them. Any senior community, whether it's in a facility like assisted living or independent living, or in a community of over 55 of people, or at a hotel even, right?
The pools are required to have different types of devices around the pool.
But they're not required, though, to have a lifeguard on duty all the time, are they?
No, and that's one of the reasons why we say you never swim alone.
Right, because you don't even have a lifeguard watching out for you.
Precisely.
Okay, so we're in a regular assisted living, not Arden Courts, because we don't have pools at Arden Courts, which is a good thing.
So you find the person flailing. Okay, most people have cell phones nowadays, so make sure you call 911 and tell them where you're located and what is going on. And as you're talking, you get moving and go and get they usually have life rings around these pools, as well as a really long shepherd's hook that has a hook on the end that you can hook the person.
Okay.
So what you do is you take let's use the shepherd's hook, for example, because that's a reach object.
Okay.
You could, and the person's flailing, you reach the object out to that person. However, their first instinct when they grab onto that hook is to pull. And if you're standing up, what's going to happen to you?
They're going to topple you right in.
Right. You're going to fall right in the water, and you don't want to do that because that's not helping them. So make sure if you do that, you want to lie down on the ground because then all your body weight is on the ground and you will not get pulled in. You're lighter in water than you are on land.
So you want to get even.
You want to get right down on your
Right
belly.
on the edge of the pool.
Precisely.
And put that hook out or that.
Right, and have them, and guide them and tell them, to the
Grab
left,
on,
to the right, grab on.
All right.
And then when they grab on, you pull them to safety, but you remain lying down on the ground.
Okay.
And that's really crucial. Really,
so
really
you
crucial.
do that with either a hook or like one of those life preservers?
Well, sometimes the life preservers, they do have a long rope that attaches to it. So that would be throw. So if somebody is really far out into the pool, what you would want to do is you want to take the life ring and you want to throw it behind them, not to the side of them, because if they're flailing, they're not going to, swim to the side to catch it. You want to throw it over their head and then lie down on the ground and start pulling the rope so that way they can grab onto it as it comes by them. And then you want to bring them to safety. But by lying down on the ground, you yourself are protected from, falling into the water.
So that one is a throw. That's the throw part. And the other pole would be the reach part.
The reach.
What about if you didn't have a pole? What about using your own arm?
You can use your own arm, no question about it, as long as you lie down on the ground. I even have this great water safety device that you can make at home.
Really?
I love it. Are you ready for this?
Yes,
You're
sure.
going to totally freak when I show this to you.
All right.
Everybody does laundry,
For
right?
all of you that are not watching on the web but are listening on the radio, Anna just pulled out a big old laundry detergent container. Is it empty or is
It's empty.
It's empty.
So, don't go home right now and empty all of the detergent.
Go home and do lots of
right,
wash
I
and get
know.
an empty container.
Yeah, so when you finally have an empty container, it is lightweight and it will float.
Now, how big is that? What's the ounces on that? Does it
The
have
ounces, that's a good question. I don't know. This is 125 fluid ounces.
Okay,
but
so it's a big one.
It's
a big liquid
it's a nice
detergent
size,
container.
right? Or if you think of the big milk jugs, you can use one of those also.
Okay.
It doesn't
like a big
matter.
gallon jug. Okay.
So, and then you attach a long rope to it, and there you have your rescue.
Now, how does
Advice.
that work? Because you're throwing it out. Are they gonna?
Well, you have a long rope,
Okay.
and you attach it to the handle.
Okay.
And then at the end of the rope, you want to step on it so that way when you go to throw the container, it doesn't come out of your hand. But on really windy days, if you do not put water in the container, it can fly away from you.
Or on windy days,
On
it
windy
might
days.
not get to the person you're trying to reach because it's going to kind of come back to you.
Yes, it's too
flies
light.
back.
It's too light. So make sure that you want to fill it with like about 2 inches
2
of water.
inches. Okay.
So then when you're ready to throw it, you've stepped on the rope. You throw it once again behind the person, right? Behind the person like you would for the circular tube.
Okay.
And then you would lie down on the ground, grab the rope, and then pull them to safety. So this is actually something that you can make at home. So if you go somewhere where there's not a shepherd's hook or any type of device, somebody's home pool maybe,
Right.
you can bring this with you.
So take it with you. Take it with you when you go to
Any body of water.
Wow.
Any body of water. Sometimes people go fishing. I mean, you never know what can happen to you. You need to recognize, and I cannot stress this enough, is that a drowning can happen to you regardless of your age, race, gender, socioeconomic background, and your swimming capability. You can still drown if you know how to swim.
And, I'm glad you said that because, I've had residents at Arden Courts that were great swimmers in their day. Matter of fact, they were Olympians, and they were swimmers, and they were great. But people don't realize that sometimes you can actually forget how to swim because with Alzheimer's, it's affecting your brain and it affects your memory, but it also affects your body parts. And having Alzheimer's disease where your brain cells are dying, your body doesn't have the computer anymore, because our
Right.
brain's a computer. Your body doesn't have that computer anymore that doesn't work as well to tell our body what to do. So people can actually forget how to walk, or forget how to chew, or
So
forget.
that's where the caregiver really comes into play.
Right.
Then. And so the caregiver really needs to know what to do. The reach or throw, don't go. One of the other items that I brought today was a pool noodle. A pool noodle you can use to...
like the kids all play with.
Yeah, you can reach that out to somebody, lay down on the ground. This even floats, so you could throw a pool noodle out to somebody for them to grab onto. If a person is unconscious, if you jump in after them, make sure you bring a flotation device with you. Don't go in there without anything. You just want to make sure that you bring like an inner tube with you, or a boogie board, or something that
Wow.
will keep you afloat.
Something to float.
Right.
That's amazing. So, wow, that is so good to know all of these
You don't
things.
think about it. I know, but you don't think about
you
it,
don't.
right?
People don't. They're just going to go have a nice day at the pool.
Right.
Well, stay with us, because when we come back, Anna has lots more to share, and you're going to love what she has to say next. So stay with us.
Take a pen and jot down this information. Right from the Heart assists families in finding the right living arrangements for their aging parents. Founded in 2012 by Sharon Agate, Senior Lifestyle Consultant, Sharon has counseled seniors and their families for over 20 years in clinical settings and in independent assisted living and memory care communities. Finding the right community can be overwhelming and time-consuming. Right from the Heart takes the stress and worry from you. Sharon will meet with mom or dad and evaluate their needs and lifestyle preferences and create a personalized plan at no cost to you. She will accompany you to visit selected communities and guide you every step of the way so you can be assured you're making a well-informed decision. Call Sharon at 561-374-4696. Sharon's promise to you is in your knowing that her advice will always come right from the heart.
Hi, this is Marcia Teal of CareGiver Solutions Info. I'd like to tell you about Senior Home Companions. They provide care in the home for seniors by active seniors. The caregivers are mature men and women who understand the needs of seniors. Caregivers are individually matched to each client, creating a bond and a high level of comfort. A nurse registry, Senior Home Companions have been assisting seniors in Palm Beach County for 17 years. For a complimentary assessment, call Gloria at 561-347-6676 to see how a Senior Home Companion can help you.
You are listening to your host, Marcia Teal, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on CareGiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Hi, and welcome back. Glad you stayed with us. We're talking about drowning. Here in Florida and anywhere there's bodies of water in the United States, around the world, people are drowning unnecessarily because they don't know what to do. People don't know how to help them. They're accidental drownings, and it's very prevalent here in South Florida. In Florida in general, there are so many people that are dying because they're in pools, they're in swimming pools, whether it's at their condominium, whether it's at a neighbor's house. There are people that are wandering, they have Alzheimer's and they wander out and they accidentally wander into a body of water. They don't have good judgment, and so they don't know that it could be dangerous for them, and they will get into a pool and drown. And unless there's somebody there that knows how to save somebody, they're going, unfortunately, to die. So we have Anna Stewart with us. She's manager of the Palm Beach County Drowning Prevention Coalition, and she's been sharing with us what happens when someone's in a pool, what a bystander should do. So we've learned lots of things. But, Anna, I have another question for you.
Oh, go for it.
All right.
Okay.
So we learned about helping someone in a pool, in a body of water. But what happens now? And the reason I ask this is because I read a story a year or two ago that this actually happened here in South Florida, where we had heavy rains just floods and rains. And, you know, it was so much rain that the lakes and the canals just rose so high and covered the roads. And you couldn't even see the road. And it was dangerous to drive, and especially for people that aren't either good drivers or they're elderly and they're you know, compromised in one way. But for anybody in that situation, it would be very difficult because you can't even see the road, how to stay on the road. And unfortunately, this gentleman actually drove his car off the road. He was making a turn, thought he was on the road, and drove his car actually into a canal, and he passed away. So does that happen very often?
I am so excited that you brought this up because this is a huge passion of mine. Because cars going into canals and people drowning, it's the third leading cause of drowning in this county. Can you believe that?
Third leading cause
of drowning. But then you think about it and you hear about it all the time. And oftentimes people drown because they have no idea what to do to save themselves.
Well, you know, I want to learn about this because this information is for everybody.
It's for everybody.
I mean, it's for everybody. Whether you're a caregiver and you're caring for somebody, or whether you're just taking a ride to the grocery store and something happens and maybe you get in an accident and you get pushed into the water.
Right.
You know, your car gets pushed into the water. Anything could happen. There's all kinds of reasons why a car would go into the water.
Right. And my mom, it's so funny because my mom always said to me, Anna, it's not you that I worry about. It's everybody else around you that I worry about. You know, way to go, Mom, to make me feel better. But she's correct. You are only responsible for you when you're driving your car. You're not responsible for those that are around you. So hence, it could happen to you. So we want people to be prepared and know what to do and not panic if their car goes into a body of water.
Okay, so walk us through this. So all of a sudden, for whatever reason, my car goes off the road and splash, I'm in
You're
water.
in the water. Okay. You want to remember this acronym. Seatbelt off, window open, children out, out. But when you're talking about Alzheimer's and caregivers, most likely they may not have children in the car. So it'd be seatbelts off, windows open, out. So seatbelt, windows out. Seatbelt, windows out. Very easy to remember. Now, if your car goes into a body of water, in today's society, many of us have electric windows. And it has proven that electric windows can still work. But you know what? You know, go ahead, try it, but I would rather have a rescue escape tool near me that can cut my seatbelt and break the window. One of the things is do not call 911. Don't call 911. Now, I know this goes against every fiber of your being because we're always told,
taught, call 911, you're in trouble, right?
So if you're in your car and you pick up the phone and hello, 911, you have an emergency. Hi, I'm scared, you know, and they're asking you all these questions.
My car's in the water.
Right.
Well, where are you? Well, I don't know. But the water's coming in.
And you could have been out of the car already. You could have been out of the car already. So don't call 911 because it wastes the energy and time that you do not have.
So you don't do that because time is of the essence.
Time is of the essence. You want to get out within the first minute as soon as your car hits the water, preferably even less than that.
And is that possible?
It is possible. You can do it in less than 10 seconds if you know exactly what you're doing and if you're not hurt, of course.
Wow.
So seatbelts, windows, children out.
So that means undo your seatbelt.
Undo your seatbelt. So let's say you try to push your seatbelt and it's stuck. Well, what do? You want to have some kind of device, a rescue tool, that will cut your seatbelt. So I brought two different devices. Now, being a government entity, we're not allowed to endorse any specific product. I have to throw that out there.
But you have samples.
But I have samples.
Okay.
So this is a center punch. And this actually attaches to your keychain. So imagine your keys are on the end here.
Right.
It's in the ignition. Your car goes into a body of water. You pull it off of your keychain.
Oh, it has a little thing that comes off.
And then right in here, there's a slicer.
Looks like a letter opener.
Yes, exactly what it is. And then you slice your seatbelt.
Oh, okay. So you just put it on there and it slices just like you're opening an envelope.
Right.
Okay.
And then this is a center punch. So what you would do is you would put it in the corner of your window right where the mirror is located, because your window is not as strong in the corner as it is in the middle.
Okay.
So what you would do is you would take this kind of device and just push it. You would just push it against the window.
So it made that noise. It worked. It works. It made a noise.
It made a noise. The nail comes out, smashes the window.
So there's a nail in there that
yes, it
punches,
comes out and it
punches
springs
the
back
window.
in.
And that kind of breaks the window up.
Yes.
And you push out the window?
You push out the window. Sometimes it may shatter. It all depends. Don't worry about the shards of glass or the alligators in the water. I get that all the time. Well, what about the alligators? I think the alligators are going to go in another direction. So don't worry about that. Just get yourself to safety.
Yeah, I mean, if you cut yourself getting out, that's still better than losing your life.
And you know what? If you have to, you leave the phone behind, leave your purse. Your life is the most important thing that you need to save. So you want to get out immediately. So, such as the driver, you would do the seatbelt off, using escape tool. This is a hammer. This also has a seatbelt cutter, but it's right there.
So this is something big that it's a bigger device for those of you on the radio. It's a bigger device. It's
like a hammer.
It looks like a
hammer. You actually had to physically use your arm to smash the window.
Okay, so it's a little more effort.
It's a little more effort, and if there is water that's rising in your car, you're going to have less ability to get a lot of strength to break the window because you're going to have water pushing against your resistance.
Plus, if you're not a strong person anyway, or if you're an elderly person that maybe has arthritis or bursitis or something that's going to prevent you from using your muscles. So it might, depending upon who you are, it might depend on what kind of device that you get.
Right. So just become, informed and educated and decide what is best for you. But if you know that you're not that strong on the hands, get a center punch. Okay. Now, one thing is don't put it in your glove box and don't put it in the trunk of your car. You won't believe how many people I come across and I'm like, oh, do you know how to escape a sinking vehicle? And they're like, yes, as a matter of fact, I have a tool. Where is it? In the trunk of my car. I'm like, come on.
That's going to do them a lot of good, right?
And I'm like, you do realize it's not going to help you.
So not your glove compartment either, because you have
It's too far.
It's too far. You have to reach over, and maybe you have lots of things in your glove compartment. You're going to have a hard time finding it.
But not only that, if you're stuck in your seatbelt, you're not going to
be able to reach.
So if any of you are driving and have the center console that opens and closes, put it right there.
Okay.
Because it's right next to you. Or put it on your keychain.
On your keychain if it's a little one.
Right. Some people have actually taped it to the sidewall of their door using Velcro. Sometimes they tape it, to their visor. The whole point is if it's not near you, it doesn't do you any good.
Right. And you have to remember where it's at, because when you're in that situation, I can imagine the
people
panic.
And that's what
you're
gets
looking. So it should probably be somewhere that's actually visible, so that you can actually, when you're panicking and you're looking around, you can, there it is, and remember that you have that.
Right. But did you know in the state of Florida, you're technically not allowed to hang anything from your rearview mirror?
No, not from the rearview mirror, but maybe like you said, on the visor, up there.
Exactly.
Somewhere on your console.
So you know where it is.
Right.
But as number one is don't panic and don't call 911. So you want a seatbelt off, window open, get out. And if you have a passenger, they're going to do exactly that, but they're going to go out their window and you're going to go out your window.
So if you had a passenger, you punch your window, hand them the device, and let them punch their window. They can do the same thing.
Precisely.
And you just, do what I show you to do.
And we have all these types of videos and so forth on our website. Everything that I've discussed today is at our website, pbcgov.org/D as in dog, P as in Peter, C as in Charlie. There's a plethora of water safety information on our website, and I really encourage your listeners to check it out.
Wow, they will.
There's lots of information.
We all will. We're going to stop for one more little commercial break, and we'll be right back, so stay with us.
Take a pen and jot down this information. Right from the Heart assists families in finding the right living arrangements for their aging parents. Founded in 2012 by Sharon Agate, Senior Lifestyle Consultant, Sharon has counseled seniors and their families for over 20 years in clinical settings and in independent assisted living and memory care communities. Finding the right community can be overwhelming and time-consuming. Right from the Heart takes the stress and worry from you. Sharon will meet with mom or dad and evaluate their needs and lifestyle preferences and create a personalized plan at no cost to you. She will accompany you to visit selected communities and guide you every step of the way so you can be assured you're making a well-informed decision. Call Sharon at 561-374-4696. Sharon's promise to you is in your knowing that her advice will always come right from the heart. Do you need the advice of an elder law attorney but perhaps find it difficult or overwhelming getting to appointments? The solution is the Elder Law Department. They bring elder law to you by meeting with you in the comfort of your own surroundings to discuss your personal situation and family needs. In practice since 1994, Heidi Friedman is a member of the Elder Law section of the Florida Bar. She and her team help families with issues that include incapacity and estate planning, asset preservation, veterans benefits, and other legal issues that seniors may face. Call the Elder Law Department at 954-383-1143. 954-383-1143. They bring elder law to you. Arden Courts is not just a place to live, it's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teal, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on CareGiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
And we're back with Anna Stewart from the Palm Beach County Drowning Prevention Coalition. And thank you, Anna, for coming today. She's been sharing with us how to prevent drownings, either in a pool, in our car, if we get into a situation where our car goes into water. I have a quick question before we end our show. What about going to the beach? Let's say their lifeguard is not on duty and you're there. Is there anything special we should know about the beach?
Well, with a
besides watch for sharks?
But no, go to a lifeguarded beach. Do not go to an unlifeguarded beach. That would be my number one recommendation. Because if you go to an unlifeguarded beach and let's say you get caught in a rip current, who's there to save you?
There you go.
So they are there as an added layer of protection. In addition, if you don't go to a lifeguarded beach, you have no idea what the conditions are of the beach. That's the whole purpose of going to a beach where there's a lifeguard. The lifeguard tower, they have flags, and the flags mean different things. So, for example, if you see a red flag...
Okay, she's got her flags here
What
with
do you
her.
think red means? No.
Stop.
Don't go swimming.
Red means stop.
Yellow, what do you think yellow means?
Caution.
Caution, right?
Something's going on.
Yep. And what do you think green means?
Means everything's okay.
Right. So red, yellow, green. Does that remind you of anything?
Stoplight.
A stoplight. Precisely. And then, and you have purple. That can throw people off. But
Purple's a color for Alzheimer's, by the way.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I like purple.
It means, marine life, like man-o-war and jellyfish and sea lice. So just be aware of knowing what the flags mean. And if you see certain flag colors... the red, turn around and go home.
Yeah, just don't go to the beach that day.
Don't go to the beach. And lifeguards are not there to babysit.
At least if you go to the beach, don't go in the water.
Well, fine. That's perfectly fine with me as long as you don't drown.
Take your little spritzer bottle, get a nice tan, have a little picnic lunch, but don't go in the water when you see the red flags.
Never go in the water alone, ever.
Right.
Ever.
Good advice. Great advice. So Anna, tell us again, if someone wanted to contact you, wanted more information, how can they do that?
If you can't tell already, I love to talk. So I come out and I do group presentations on water safety, adult presentations that are lively and fun.
To any kind of groups?
To any kind of group. And anybody who's willing to listen to me talk, because drowning is applicable to everyone, period. The end. And it's preventable.
So if you had a social group or a condominium group,
they can call my office at 561-616-7068, and I'd be more than happy to come in to your organization and speak. That's what we do. Being an organization of just 2 people, we really need water safety advocates, and the water safety advocates needs to be the community. You need to help me get this information out, because drownings are preventable.
That's right. And I'm so glad you came to share with us today. Thank you so much for coming. It was so good to have you and give all this great information, and everybody take note. So before we leave, call Arden Courts, Memory Care Community, our national sponsor. They want to give you a free book, 36-hour day or Still Alice. All you have to do is call the 800 number, which is 888-478-2410. They answer their phones from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. at night. They're always there to answer questions. If you have any questions about Alzheimer's, about dementia, about anything in general, give Arden Courts a call. Their expertise is invaluable to you, and we are sharing other experts here on the show. So thank you, Arden Courts, for being our national sponsor. Call Anna, call Arden Courts. Tune in next week, either by radio or on caregiversolutions.info, and I hope to see you then. So have a good evening and give somebody a hug.
Thanks for joining us for this week's Caregiver Solutions with Marcia Teal. Join us next week as Marcia, who has 15 years of Alzheimer's disease and dementia care experience, brings you more needed information to help with the care of your loved one. This show can be seen again on caregiversolutions.info, and questions can be left on the site, which may be used on the program to help others. See you next week for more Caregiver Solutions. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its